Okay.
Sorry about
Hey,
that. Hi,
hey, no
Stanley.
worries, Danny. Just give me a minute. I'm my computer crashed, so I'm just trying to get everything up and going again. How have you been?
Good, busy. I just realized that there's a typo in the Zoom URL. Then I'm like, oh, dang it. And so I'm like, how come like seven people? No one showed up? It's a me problem. It's not you, it's me. I'm gonna update this. Gonna deal with this later. Hopefully people
Mhm.
can find us. So in the meantime, can you can see the board, right?
Yes.
So we'll start with just gonna give the example. What tools that you've used, AI
Mhm.
tool that you've used, and how do you use it? So because we're doing UX, of course we're gonna use stickies, right?
Right.
Jason, sorry about that.
It's all good. Yeah, the link was not working for me, and that sounds like somebody else as well.
Yeah,
So,
I just noticed that my dyslexic mind mixed up the order of the number.
uh, okay,
Okay, so
it's all
um,
good.
sir, welcome. Sorry about the mishap with the link. We're expecting a couple more, but since this is a UX thing, we gotta use stickies. Why not? So we'll
Hmm.
start with the tools that you've used and how you use it, right? So you see the board here. I just started giving some examples. Um, and if you use the same tool for multiple purposes, um, include different purposes in like one per post-it. So for example, like I show that ChatGPT for editing content and ChatGPT for creating editing email and creating content, different things. Journey generate email, I mean image. Luisa, sorry for the image, for the link issue. Glad
Okay.
you here. So yeah, so we'll start with this just to level set with everyone, so, and also giving a chance for people to join us. Um, on the whiteboard, use a sticky per item. So for each item, I want you to first at the top list the tool that you've used, the AI tool, and how you use it. Right? So for example, here ChatGPT editing email, ChatGPT creating content. So if you use the same tool for multiple purposes, one purpose per sticky.
Hmm.
And then we'll see the pattern later. Any questions, people?
No.
Cool.
Uh, I don't have the link to the board.
Oh,
Is
it's not a link. You should see it. It's a Zoom thing. It's not a PicJam.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Do you see the board in your screen or no?
I do, but can I add the sticky?
Yep. So on the left, you should see the tools, and there's a sticky icon there.
Okay.
Oh, that's a massive one.
Yeah, sorry. I never used this tool before.
I haven't either.
Yeah, this is something that a lot of people haven't used because typically we do use the like it link to FigJam, right? And then do screen share.
Right.
This is actually way smoother.
So it's on the left. I cannot. Oh, view options. No.
There should be some, I see it on the left. Sometimes Zoom move things around, but it's on the left vertically.
Yeah, or you can do Shift N, see if that works for you.
I did not know that. Learned something new. Nice. Hmm. It's so interesting to see how all these different tools are creating tools to compete with Figma to cut Figma out the picture. Okay, like 30 more seconds.
Mhm.
Oh, I think we're good. Anyone still need time? Okay, cool. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot for later. Research summarizing, checking grammar, ChatGPT can help with organizing, processing, ChatGPT monitoring, improve my writing, ChatGPT creating. Okay, so mostly ChatGPT. Okay, cool. Thank you for that, guys. Thank you for humoring me. So we'll continue on with, shall we do a quick intro going around? Would love to know just quickly your name and your story a little bit so we know who's in the room.
Sure, I guess I can go first. It seems like I'm like way on top of the grid. My name is Jason. I am a UX UI designer. I've been doing UX UI design for about 7 years or so. Started out as a graphic designer and just worked my way up, through the different levels of design, print, web, and then to UX. Currently in between jobs, as many people are in the market. So I'm just looking to expand my horizons with AI and just to learn more about it and to start incorporating it into what I can do with it in my daily work routine.
Thank you,
And I'm
Jason.
actually, yep.
You get to pick the next person, Jason.
Oh, okay. Well, in my grid of people underneath you, Danny, is Stanley. So I guess
Okay.
Stanley.
No worries. Thank you, Jason. Yes, my name is Stanley Tatum. Like Jason, I've now been a UX designer now for about 7 years. I'd worked in film and video for 15 years prior to that. Currently, I do a little bit of UX for small businesses, people who are uh, pretty much solo entrepreneurs who have their own business and who more than likely have created their own websites. So I help them with like, bit of just taking a look to see if the heuristics are good. And then also just providing them with a bit of advice, just more or less acting as a consultant. And then on the side as well, I also create content for YouTube. So what I want to get out of this is since AI is again just the talk of things, I want to see how I can really use it on a daily basis, whether in UX or whether in what I'm creating videos as well and writing scripts.
You're a busy
That's
man.
me. Mhm.
You're a very busy man.
Thanks.
You get to pick the next person then.
Okay, so I'll go with Aster.
Sure. Hi, I'm Esther. I have been a UX designer for also about 7 years, or maybe a little bit more, maybe 8 years or so. I started off with graphic designer as well. I worked as a web designer in the beginning, and then also just started incorporating more research, more user-centric methodology. So doing a lot of workshopping and ideation. Um, really kind of more involved in the research arena as well. So I've been using some of the AI tools in research, ChatGPT, but also Maze and user testing for usability testing, and just wanting to know how it is to design for AI as well. And I'm also in between jobs right now, so I'm working helping a couple of startups in AI and wanting to learn more, just to be more informed in UI space. So
Awesome. Thanks, Esther. Luisa.
Hi, I'm also a senior in UX. I started as a web designer, and of course, the natural progression was to get into UX. I'm Mexican. I was living in Chile for the past 9 years, and I just recently moved to New York. So I'm trying to get into the US industry, which has been hard. So I'm here to learn, as you guys say, like to know what's going on, to do a better use of these tools, and try not to be like in the afraid spectrum of the AI reality that is going on, and try to like learn to get better at my work, and also as Aster say, like learn how to design for AI. I think is different. So I'm working right now with a little startup that is AI powered. So
Mhm.
doing that is also like something new. And yeah, I'm on all that. I also make content as Stanley. So I use a lot of ChatGPT for that. Helps like with the organization of ideas too.
Nice. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. And also, Luisa, if you're looking to hang out and drink with UX people, we're gonna get drinks later at happy hour, just so you know, in case you're interested.
Yeah, I host a book club today, so I cannot be there today,
Oh,
but be there next time.
okay. Thank you, everyone. So I'm gonna now. I'll go. I'll do a little intro. Stanley knows me. And Jason also heard this spiel before. But the main thing here is that I've been in the industry. I came from graphic design background as well, like some of you. Graphic design became web design became UX. I worked in an agency setting before in in-house product, also taught at General Assembly, at Flatiron School, coach startups. And the main thing this year that I'm realizing is that, as you guys just alluded, AI is not going away, right? It's getting bigger and it's actually changing. I just realized this actually the other day. It was interesting. Back in the day, I think some of you may still remember this. The way we interact with computer is using command line, right? And then this thing came about, and the way we interact with the computer changed with GUI, graphical user interface. Then we click, point and click. And then it changed again with the tapping. And now it's changing again with prompting. So all that is really to interact with computer, is computer interaction. So this AI thing is becoming the new computing skill. And the big thing there is that's why I have that mission, at least for this group. I'm seeing that a lot of people are not aware that this is a big deal. I hope by the end of this workshop, you'll see the potential and possibility beyond using ChatGPT for content. That's already great. But for UX, how do we actually integrate into the workflow? Because I want us to position ourselves to not only survive this change, but to also dominate, to also get all the opportunities, right? Because if we're there first, we're on the cutting edge, as everyone else still trying to catch up, naturally we're going to get the opportunities. So that's the mission for me, and that's why I'm driven to do a lot of these workshops. And apologies for the for flooding your inbox with all these workshops, because I'm trying to make people aware. Anyways, moving on. So from all these workshops, and also I can talk about the course a little bit later if you're interested to accelerate the learning. I'm using real data, which is like the things I hear from the industry, from you guys, from the community, from doing this workshop. So all these things are based on, basically, this is the user testing in a way, right? My industry experience of applying these things, putting in practice, putting UX practice in place, and also from teaching. On that, so you've done this. The objective by the end of this, you'll get at least the basic of creating effective prompts for UX design tasks beyond the content creation, right? And also generating wireframes using AI tools. That's what we're going to do. And then after that, we evaluate that. We evaluate different LLMs. So we'll pit them against each other and see which one and how do we evaluate them. Okay, so this is the agenda, the intro. We'll talk about AI's impact in UX very briefly, and we get into basic prompt engineering. And it's going to be very interactive, very hands-on. Stanley, you went to GA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll love this because it's very GA style. And we'll do wireframing with UI with AI where you're gonna do it. And then we'll share back. And then we'll compare that, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, so if you got questions along the way, feel free to stop me since it's a small group, so we can just like do that. Okay, the AI revolution in UX, it's happening right now, and 62% of UX professionals already using AI tools. I mean, you guys are included, but the question here is that, actually, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you guys consider being part of that 62% or the other side of the 38% that haven't used the AI tools yet?
I would put myself in the 38% because for the most part, I had been using ChatGPT, as I posted before, really about trying to be concise with my words, and really haven't thought about how I can apply ChatGPT into sort of like, to everyday use for solving UX challenges.
Jason, I saw you nodding also.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm in the same boat. I mean, I'm only fairly put my toe in the water as far as like AI, and I've used ChatGPT for just personal use, but for professional use, it really hasn't. I feel like there's so many things happening and so many new technologies coming out very quickly, and I feel like almost like inundated with like, what do I do? Like, what do I use? And
where do you even start?
Like as a designer, it's like everybody knows like Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. that was like the standard. There were no competitors really, until you go into UX, and there's obviously a lot more programs. But with AI, I feel like there's like so many different ones. It's like, which ones do I focus on? So I've kind of just been like, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I will put myself on the 62 because I've been using ChatGPT as well, but to do the research, I create sometimes users in my ChatGPT so I can do a little testing.
Nice.
Also, sometimes I pay for the Pro ChatGPT so I can upload documents and images. So I ask, and I have like this because I work by myself, so I kind of created like my coworker with ChatGPT.
Nice. Love it. Esther, what do you think?
I think I'll put myself in the 62 because I have used ChatGPT, but I've also been using some of the research tool. I've been using FigJam quite a bit, Miro, and Maze for additional research for usability testing, and user testing has an AI tool incorporated that kind of is able to take the transcript and synthesize some of the feedback. But I am within the 62. I have used some tools, but I also feel overwhelmed because there are so many other tools. Like the ones that I have used is probably a small percentage of all the tools available out there. And one thing that I definitely want to do more of is learn how to prototype or how to create layouts and kind of work with AI on that, because that would probably make my life a whole lot easier too.
Yeah.
So I think it's really helpful. Yeah.
Welcome,
Yeah,
Chris.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
Hi, Danny. It's been a while. How are you?
Good. So yeah, so we're here to catch you up. So we did quick intro earlier, and now sorry, my computer is just glitching. You guys can still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we were just talking about this slide where like 62% and asking, you were just going around and it's like, do you see yourself in the 62% or the other side, the 38%? So that's what the conversation was. Now, moving forward, so you can see that the key impact here, right? Faster wireframe, reduction in content creation, which you've seen. And I'm guessing that 42% reduction in content creation here, this is very conservative. I'm guessing that you see even more than this.
Yeah.
Right? A lot more. And design variation, increase in research synthesis. Esther, you can probably also testify that this is 78% is realistic, or maybe you see even more, right? And the quality is even better if you could actually use this tool because you can see different pattern faster, right? So for example, like with affinity mapping. So back in the day, we have to do it by hand. Now we can just take a picture. I can just upload it, right? Issue detection is also really fast. Like I think, Luisa, you said that you created some kind of agent or something to like do this. So yeah, so this is happening right now. And now we're gonna get into it. I'm curious actually if, by the end of this, if you feel like you're, for those of you, if you change your mind in that, so the 62 and 38. Okay, so we're gonna get into prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is the process of crafting and refining input to AI system to generate more accurate, relevant, and useful outputs for specific tasks or objectives. All this to say, we don't want garbage out, right? So we want something that we can use. So the most important thing here is that we want something that's this part: accurate, important, relevant, and more importantly, useful. So we can use it for the next thing. I want to emphasize that because we need to know what we want to use it for before we start. Or else this thing will just pull us into so many different directions. It's like this overly eager intern kind of entity. They just say, oh yeah, but you can do this, but you can, how about this, how about this? And then like our mind's like, oh, but that's interesting. Let's zoom in. And the next thing you know, like 1 hour later, you're like deep somewhere, like, what am I doing here? It's like Reddit on steroid, this thing, right? Because it's interactive. I'm sure you guys have experience going on the subreddit, and it's like the next thing you know, like, wait, why am I here? So let's do this together, right? So for this exercise, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to use Claude, and we'll start with something that's very generic, and we'll start adding things that would make it more and more useful for us, right? So this is going to be very interactive. So the exercise is to get an idea how AI could be useful for us in a practical way. Okay. So we could start with something like, give me ideas of how AI can be useful for me in a very practical way, right? And you're going to see that this is going to give us something that's not amazing. And I'm going to tell you why after we see it. It's going to barf all kinds of things, right? Which on the surface level, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's interesting. But if you're a UX designer, which is why you're here, and you want to use this for your work, and you want to figure out by the end of this, what you want to know is, how do I start integrating this into my workflow? That's the question, right? How do I start after this? Then this is not going to help you. Some of this may, like information processing, but it's too generic. Okay, so can somebody give me an idea of how we can make this better?
I will ask, like, as a UX designer.
As a UX designer, right?
But
okay.
I would say, like, to be more specific, as a mid-career UX designer, maybe.
Okay, so I'm gonna revise this to make this specific, contextually relevant for mid-level UX designer. How's that? Okay, so what we just did is that we gave it a little more context. Like what Luisa said, make it specific. Context is very, very important with this. Okay, now let's see what we get. Now we're getting something more useful, right? But now, when you get something like this, for example, competitor analysis, AI can do this. How are you going to use that information? Anyone? How do you use this information? Is this useful now for us? Still no. Okay. How do we make this even more useful?
I would say drill down further into what way, even though this spit out 10 different on the surface bullet points, it's like focusing on, what a user would want to know out of all of this. Say like if they're looking specifically on prototyping, or if they're using on like design system maintenance, or even design idea and exploration, like you said, to like Reddit, like, okay, this is the first bullet point. Now let's break it down into the next, more contextually, what I would want to see out of all of this.
Yep.
And just keep going.
So that's a really good point, Jason. So the question is then, why are you even here, right? So what is the role that you play here and the purpose of being here, of interacting with this thing, right? So if you were, let's say, a prototyper and you're looking for, I guess, like a way to integrate AI, then you could use it as a prototyper. How would I start using this, right? So it says prototyping acceleration. So that's assigning a role. So we added the context and now the role, right? So let's add that. Play the role of prototyper. How would you start? Oh, that's the wrong question. I'm going to edit it. So this is one thing. You can edit that. We'll start integrating. See, like it thinks that, oh, you just want to start prototyping, right? Integrating AI tools into my workflow, right? How do we feel about this so far?
Okay.
Are we getting closer, right?
Yes.
But then how do we use this information now? So that's what I want you guys to keep thinking about this, like as we go through this, like how do I use this? How do I use this? Can we already use this?
I see the phase 1.2. It says like tools like Figma have AI plugins. I would ask like which plugins, like
Mhm.
uh,
Then
to
if you
go
knew
more
if you knew
go
then you
into
can
deep
start using it, right?
for each phase. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So again, back to like what Jason said, then in this case, this is like more rabbit holes, right? Which direction we want to go into, right? So in this case, like what Lisa, if you actually already have something, a project that you're working on, a plugin is something that you can already implement, right? So then you can ask, okay, which plugin should I use, right? How about the other stuff that we're seeing here?
Let's see. Generation.
Sorry, what was that, Stanley?
Oh no, I was just reading when we're in phase two, text to you
Oh,
user
this one.
interface generation.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in some ways it's almost like you want it's not that you say that you want AI to do the work for you, but you want to give it specific uh commands or prompts in order for him to actually to do the work for you, or to at least give you examples for you to work from.
Now, that's an interesting thing. You mentioned examples.
Mm,
Let's go back to the very top. We said that we want to make this useful for us, right?
right.
Now, what if we add an example of the kind of thing that we want it to give us? So
Mm,
let's start with the prompt where uh so we combine the thing. So I'm a mid-level UX designer working on prototyping an app, right? And I need ideas on how to start integrating AI tools into my workflow. Help me with recommendations, examples, plugin for Figma that I can implement immediately. Plugins. You see how much more robust this is, right?
yes.
Now let's see what it gives us. What do you guys think?
This is interesting. I mean, it seems like you almost have to write a script or dialogue down before you even go to any AI in interactions.
Yep. It's
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 yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm starting to get it. It's like, you can sit down and like, all right, what is the goal you want AI to accomplish for you? And
mhm.
then you have to write out, how do I get from the start to the end, and then write it all out, and then just input it into the AI model, into the LLM, and just see where it goes.
Well, you can do it that way, which is what we normally do in our design process, right?
Right, right.
With a task, with the success matching, and we do user flow, right? That's what it is, the steps. Um, or we can just do what we did, try something. Sometimes we don't know, and we can do the exploration. That's the divergence. We can do the exploration, and from here we can probably go here, here. For example, the Figma plugin, we got the idea from that exploration. Now we can use it to iterate our prompt to become more refined, like this.
Yeah.
Right? So this is the second iteration, and I'm the first iteration, and then we can say from here, okay, now I'm interested in exploring more. So, for example, I'm like, okay, this is still a lot. So one thing that I like to do is that prioritize this based on the easiest to implement. Right? So this way it could give me an idea, okay, so these are the things that I could just start using. I could get the, I guess, benefit of doing this immediately, because we keep going back to that. What is the value of doing this, right? How do I use this? Now, I already know that this is, okay, built-in Figma assistant, so it's already there. Then I could just, the next step, I could ask it to teach me how to do this. Okay, can you tell me how to use the existing Figma workflow X in the assistant, right? Or even just the next step could be going to YouTube and finding out about this. Or UX writing assistant, simple Figma plugins. Thoughts, comments, questions?
I would say probably you said Danny, you created that for your presentation in Claude.
Yeah.
So, I know we're utilizing Claude now to basically a question and answer situation. How would you jump, and like this might be not for this session, but how would you make the jump from saying inputting and getting text answers back to being like, okay, inputting something and getting like more graphical feedback?
That's a perfect segue, Jason. That's the next thing. You read my mind.
Okay.
So to recap from there, right? So I wanted you guys to have the basic first. These are the things that we just put in there. So we started with just like very generic, and we added the context. We just started with the task, and then we added the context, we added the role, and we got it the example, the format, to get that robust thing. So if you got these four things in your prompt, it will become more robust and give you the output. You probably have been doing this more naturally, because this is a very natural way of communicating. But knowing that these are the things that we can pull from our toolbox, if you will, is useful. Now, moving on to the more wireframing. This is what you wanted to know, right? So let's say, I want you guys to try this individually, actually. Full Claude.ai. If you haven't used it, you may have to actually create an account. You can just use Google. And I want you to create wireframes role for an indoor plant maintenance iPhone app. And I don't think we need 15 minutes. We'll just do 5 minutes on this quickly, and then we'll share back. Any questions? Esther, Luisa, you guys? Yep. Can't see you, so I don't know how, if you guys got this. Any questions about the exercise? No? Okay.
Nope.
Normally, this is when people start, what is going on here? So we'll see if I get that reaction from you guys.
If what I did works, I'm going to be amazed.
We'll see what it gives you back. Stanley, how you doing?
Well, it's I asked it to create wireframes for this plant maintenance iPhone app. It's giving them to me, but it's giving it to me as code.
So he's writing code right now.
Yes.
Okay, you'll see what happens next.
Okay.
And so it's building it right now in code, and then it'll spit it out, I'm assuming visually.
Yeah, it will give you the preview of what that is. Did you expect that at all?
No, I did not.
Me either. I mean, in a way, because it's suggested, do you want me to spit out some sketches for you? And I'm like, sure. And now it's starting to do this.
Mhm. Aster, Luisa, are you also in that part of the process? The thing is spitting code now?
No, I'm still writing my prompt.
Oh,
Yep, that's where I'm at as well.
yeah, cool. So once it's done creating the wireframes, I want you to take a moment to just review it, right? So you guys are all senior. You guys to take a moment to review it and just consider like, okay, if like imagine that this is like a new employee of yours or new intern and gave you this, you're reviewing this, what are your thoughts on that? And what kind of feedback you would give them?
Oh, it is. That's
Actually,
incredible.
Jason, do you want to share your screen? And then you can just
Uh,
like do the review thing on, almost like a
Sure.
usability testing. You may need,
I need this. You need the sharing is not turned on.
yeah, can you ask for the permission? I don't know.
Oh, sure.
There it is. Yep, go for it.
Okay. Let's see.
Now mine is spitting code.
Nice.
So as you can see here, this is what it spit out. It spit out these wireframes in color on the right here. Can you guys see these?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just by literally saying, this was my prompt. I need to generate wireframes for an indoor plant maintenance iPhone app. Where should I start? And then it gave me steps to start the wireframes. And then it asked me, would you like me to sketch out some example wireframes for key screens? And I'm like, absolutely, basically. And that's when it started spitting out all the code. And then once the code was finished, it gave the visuals behind the code.
Okay.
Wow.
Now let's look at the wireframes that it gave us, right? Can you review them and let us know what you're thinking? Just narrate your thought process.
So, I mean, literally just from giving it very minimal direction, it seems to be pretty complete as far as just a general idea with minimal input. As far as like, I didn't ask for a care schedule, I didn't ask for buttons, I didn't ask for a calendar, but the AI immediately. Well, sorry, trying to control this here.
It even have it gave it a name. It's plant paw.
Yeah,
Already has a name.
right. And it's just like plant. It gave it a name. You're right. It did a very simple bottom nav for the app. I mean, this is. I mean, I'm kind of impressed as far as like giving it very minimal direction and then literally just spit all this out on its own.
So I'm gonna go back to the question that I asked earlier, right? How are you gonna use this? Now what?
Now, you can either take these designs and basically rebuild them if you want to in Figma, or I don't know if AI can say if I can ask for it in a Figma file format, or continue to refine it from here. just using AI, saying, "Oh, I need the buttons to say this, or the colors, or you know, um,
Okay, so what right now, like, I'm sorry putting you on the spot, but what is the one thing that you wanted to change that you from what you're saying? Okay, change this. Just try real quick.
let's see, let me see, add. I'm gonna see if I can add in because I asked for it as an iPhone iOS design pattern, but it's missing to me, it's missing the top level um, shell, so to speak, but then again, these are just wireframes. So I don't know. I don't know what it's missing. I'd have to probably you put me on the spot a little bit, and I'd have to probably think about.
You mentioned button colors, right? Let's say that. Like let's change button colors. I don't know, like to use color scheme that's more monochromatic because there's a lot of colors
Okay.
here, right?
All right, so I'm going to use a color scheme more monochromatic.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what it does.
Is it going to redo everything now?
Now, that's the thing about these generative AI tools that is annoying. Every single time,
Hmm.
it would redo everything, and consistency could be an issue because of that, because they don't remember. Now, there are ways around it. There definitely, right? Like we can work with that. We can figure out. We can give it specific instruction to not redo everything every single time. But typically, that's an issue with generative AI overall. For example, like when you use, let's say, Midjourney, and then you create something, and then you just want it to change like one part, it just recreated the entire thing altogether. That's why like the latest OpenAI, the ChatGPT image generation was mind blowing or and groundbreaking because it could remember, it could maintain the consistency.
I see. I wonder if I would have refined my ask for use of color scheme more chromatic just for the buttons.
Mm.
You think it
Oh.
would have saved all of the other code, so to speak, and just rewritten the button code?
I don't know. Most likely no, but we could try. So Stanley, you got yours done also?
Yeah, so it just after going through the code again, it's giving me some key screens.
Mhm.
So now I was going to try and see if I could have Claude rework these screens into an iPhone format, just see if it's possible.
Okay, let's try that. Luisa, how about you? What do you have?
I'm impressed. I got 6 screens. I
Hmm.
got no name though. Mine has no name. Um, but it's interesting because I was a little bit more specific with my prompt.
Actually, would you mind sharing your screen and we can come back to Jason after this
Yeah,
because
sure.
you're writing the code anyways.
So I actually used the formula, like I gave it a role, a task, a context, and a format. And but the result is
It's
quite similar.
fidelity already, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. And there's like text at the bottom, you guidelines or something?
Yeah, like considerations, like
Okay.
what it gave me.
This so Luisa, the design considerations it wrote for you as well.
Well, it shows that itself. Like I just gave it this. I haven't added anything else. It was just that.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
and then I asked if like, can you make these wireframes to Figma format? And it says it can't. Um, but it gave it features. Like I didn't ask for features. Like I just said designs for appliance maintenance, iPhone app, and monitoring the health. That was the only feature I asked. And also the popular indoors plants. So I had to do a little research of the most popular plans, and decided like the care schedules, troubleshooting, progress tracking, and it's all here.
Impressive.
Very cool. Nice. Okay, Esther, what do we have?
I did not get mobile screens. I just got like it was like a full screen, and I'm running the code again because it had some errors in the code. So I'm not sure what I like it. I don't know if you guys have gotten that, but it caught its own errors in the code, so it's running. It's now fixing the code, so I'm still waiting.
Okay. Stanley, can we see yours? Is it
Right now it's still coding.
So now here's the thing that I want you guys to just realize, right? So it gets there and it's so exciting to just, oh, let me try this, let me try that. You notice the iteration speed here,
Mhm.
right? Oh, then it opens up our mind to try this and that because we're not bogged down by, like, I'm gonna set up the artboard first, find the UI kit for the wireframing, make the boxes. You just like the thinking is solving the problem, or oh, what if this, what if that?
This was actually very impressive because normally in a real world situation, at least in what I'm thinking, you have spoken to the PO, the product owner, the product manager, gotten some specs of say a set project, say what it needs to do, what it doesn't need to do. And I didn't have that. And I still, with very minimal direction, it still spit out those wireframes with very minimal direction. And I was still
Yeah, so
pretty impressed about it.
the way it works is obviously because it's been trained on all the best practices. It's using that training data, right? So that's the benefit of that. Now, the problem though that it could present is that it's just going to give you the generic or like the easiest, the most obvious, not the most obvious solution all the time. If you wanted to innovate, it's not the best way, right? It's always giving you the most obvious answer because that's the best practices. So now let's take it the next level. I want you guys to open a new tab on your browser, go to ChatGPT, and use the same prompt and see what you get.
That will be fun.
Chris, are you able to also get to Claude to try to get this thing, or
I'm trying right now.
okay? I'm going to give this. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that screen for the previous frame activity so you can see it in the chat.
Thank you.
This is interesting.
So cryptic, Jason.
What's that?
You're so cryptic. This is interesting.
Sorry. No, because I literally just copy and pasted without thinking from Claude to ChatGPT, and it after asking to create wireframes for key screens, it spit out, okay, well let's look at what the key screens would be, and then he's like, here's what I need from you, and I said to tailor the wireframes better, could you answer a few quick things? Then there's four questions that posed to me that I have to answer, and then it says once I have those, I'll start generating low fidelity wireframes for the main screens. Let me know if you prefer grayscale sketches or more detailed UI mockups later too. So, oh, okay.
Yeah, ChatGPT for me, like I copy pasted the same into a new project, and It gave me like a goal, a key features, like a to project brief with the key features, user personas, wireframes, like overview, and each screen with different steps. And at the end, it says, would you like me to sketch this out in low fidelity wireframes or describe them visually so you can build them in Figma? I can also turn this into components, user flows, or even mock-up interactions if you like. But I don't have anything like I did in Cloud. Like Cloud gave me the drawings at the first time. ChatGPT is asking me like, what do we do next?
It's almost like I'm hearing from you guys, ChatGPT is being careful, but it's kind of a little annoying after you've experienced the cloud experience. Like, just give me something already.
Yeah, it seems like it's like I said, it's tailoring the results. It's trying to refine it better by asking for more information before it just spits anything out. Where Claude was like, I'll take minimal direction and just give you something. Yeah.
Yeah,
How about you?
that's the experience I'm having.
Faster? Maybe audio issue. Yep, she's back.
Oh yeah, here. I am getting the similar experience. Claude kind of went on and just started shooting creating the code and also the screens, and ChatGPT has questions and then it goes into features and then specific per each screenshot. So it's doing all of that. I haven't gotten the screens yet, so it's also asking if I wanted automation included. So it's refining kind of the descriptions and definition of the application.
Stanley, how about you? What'd you get?
Um,
Oh,
well, I'm sorry, but ChatGPT just asked me to, I thought it was logged in. They asked me to log back in or to log in, but now they're asking me to, all right, yes, I'm gonna ask for editable mockups.
Jason, were you able to get the visuals from
Yeah,
Chat?
actually, I answered some of the questions that it was asking of me, and I just kind of threw some information in there, and now it's generating some wireframes.
Is it an image or in code?
It's an image, but it's got a spinner.
Hmm.
So it's here. I can share my screen if you guys want to see.
Yes, please. Chris, how are you doing? Are you able to?
I am getting the code. I'm only getting codes. Oh, I got it right now.
You got the plot wireframe?
Yeah. And I'm
Nice.
also doing it in ChatGPT as well.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, Jason, this may take a while. Somehow, like the generative, it's funny in my mind that this takes longer than creating the code.
Yeah, I'm assuming because it's still loading, so it's going to take a while. But just to give you an idea, here are the questions that it asked.
Hmm.
Then here's what I gave it as answers, and then it's basically it's telling me what it's going to generate as far as a welcome screen, a home dashboard, adding a plant detail reminders, and setting a profile. Just basically on some simple questions and answers, a session between me and ChatGPT. So, and then it's just going to just finish when it's just doing its magic now.
Yeah. Nice. Luisa, were you able to get visual or no? From ChatGPT?
Yep. Yeah, after the first prompt, I tell him, help me with low fidelity wireframes, no color or icons, just the structure. And it gave me a few, but it's like really basic compared to
compared to
the
Claude.
Claude. Yeah. And
Mhm.
I actually asked the Claude to make a more low fidelity wireframes.
Hmm.
And even with that, like side by side, the ChatGPT one looks like made on, I don't know, like Word or something like that. It has no, it doesn't add the iPhone, the iOS user face. It's just
Mm.
it's really, really basic.
Got
So
it.
Claude is more, was it trained for UX design?
No, it's both are very similar general purpose, but so essentially Claude is just like way better at a lot of these things for some reason. I don't know why.
Mm.
That's why, like for me, Claude is my main assistant, if you will.
And when you say better as this thing, is you mean like designing or just
So
doing
here's one thing to try for
doing
you, right?
better?
Go back to Claude, and then after in the chat, the same chat where you got the wireframe, just add a prompt that says turn this into interactive prototype.
Oh my God.
This one is gonna blow your mind. This is when I'm like, what the hell?
Interesting. I just in Claude, I did the same. I said just turn this into an interactive prototype off the wireframes, and then it's giving me options of like options for creating interactive prototypes, and then it's recommending Figma, and then obviously it's recommending like programs to do this in,
Mhm.
and then it's giving me a step-by-step process using Figma.
No, just tell it to create one for me in HTML. Sometimes you have to do that. It's so interesting how sometimes this LLM could get lazy,
Hmm.
saying that no, I can't do that, and then you persist and it's like, no, do it. Fuck.
Gotcha. You have to be more specific in your context. Yep, there it goes. Yeah, you have to tell it to do it in HTML, and that's what it's doing.
Not
Yeah, it
always.
happened too.
You have to
Like,
do that too.
yeah, and mine also gave me the instructions to make it on Figma, and now I told them to make it in HTML, and it's doing it.
Interesting. So it gave me, I mean, so I'm back in ChatGPT now, and it gave me a screen, just like an image of four very simple wireframes in
Mm.
ChatGPT.
So very much like what Luisa described, sounds like.
Yeah, it does have some of the iOS interface in there up top, like it has like the timestamp, the Wi-Fi symbol, the battery symbol, and the strength symbol. But I mean, it asked. I said to give it a playful theme, so it looks pretty playful. It looks very like childish. So I'd have to probably refine my ask to make it more professional.
Mm-hmm. Aster, were you able to get the wireframe in Claude?
ChatGPT
Well, both.
or both? Yeah, ChatGPT gave me.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
trying to see if it gave me more screens, but it gave me. I feel like ChatGPT had a better design, but it is simpler. There's not as much information as Claude, even though ChatGPT had all these different questions. It seemed like it's better. It's a better visual design. It's strange, but it is like for me, I think. Um, but Claude is still going through different errors that it's trying to fix. It's in its own code, but it has a little bit more complex interface than ChatGPT.
Okay. Chris, what did you experience?
I'm having the same issue with as her. The Claude is still making the codes. I like the interface that was presented to me earlier with the colors. I think the ChatGPT has a more simple visual, but I kind of like ChatGPT the way it is now.
And it was an image also, right? Not in code when ChatGPT generated that.
Yeah, ChatGPT just shot out an image, yes.
Okay.
And Claude did as well, but now I think I'm getting some other code. Some codes are being made right now
Okay.
because I only got one. As you can see on the chat box, I sent you a screenshot of what I got with Claude. It has a very
The colorful one, right?
colorful one. Yeah, it's more high fidelity than ChatGPT. But I only got one frame. I think I needed more. So I asked for it to give me more, and it's creating more codes right now for it. So I'm just waiting.
Are you guys having fun?
Yeah, I mean, finished the prototype in Claude for me,
It did?
but it's not functioning.
Okay.
Mine is functioning.
Okay. Want to share that, Lisa?
Yeah,
It is
it's so
tough.
cute.
Yeah, I got giddy too when I first got that experience. Like, ooh.
I feel like it's not using the same screens it gave me before.
You may want to
This
ask that. But it's
this is
working.
more simple because these were I had 6 screens here, and this is the interactive prototype. You can click on it. You can go here.
Nice. Very cool.
Interesting.
Go back.
Yeah, mine looks more visually put together, but for some reason I have the prototype is throwing errors every time I try to click on something.
Yeah, remember I asked it to make it like low
Fidelity.
fidelity.
Yes, you did. Yes,
Yeah.
the fidelity. Yes.
Yeah, so like don't add any colors or icons. Just,
Right.
because
Very.
I'm thinking like, of course, I'm thinking about myself and my workflow. And I feel like if I see this with colors or icons, I start getting like an idea of how it should look instead of actually design it myself. So the
Yep.
low fidelity, the better for me
Very cool.
to not be biased.
Okay. So let's bring this together. I'm gonna steal the screen, Luisa. Okay. Okay, so here's how I normally would evaluate it, right? The quality, obviously, the output, and the speed, the ROI of that. You guys experienced this, like, oh, ChatGPT asked me to put in more info, and then it gave me this, and it's not as fast, right? At least that's my personal experience when doing for this particular task. And then instruction following. Does it follow your instruction? And Luisa mentioned that the prototype from Claude, for some reason, didn't follow I mean, that's the consistency thing. Didn't use the previous one and didn't follow the instruction. But the instruction for like turning into low fidelity, it followed it pretty well, right? UX specific understanding. I mean, this is what like somebody asked earlier. Oh, it was a train on UX. It depends on the different LLMs. Some have better than others. So these are the ways you can potentially use to evaluate which LLM should I use. And with that, so we just talk about this quite a bit. So I guess like one question to bring this back home. Was there anything that surprised you guys from when you guys play around with these two different LLMs?
A lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, we only scratched the surface with just using two, and I'm sure there's a lot more than two out there that to use. And it's almost like, you know,
For me, the surprise was that as I told you before, I use the paid ChatGPT, so it should have memory of who I am, and we have worked with UX design previously. So based in that, when I asked the mockups, the wireframes for this one, I feel like it didn't. Like it was really generic, and Claude seems to give like a better version, but it does like troubles me like a little bit. I don't know if I'm like really comfortable with it, that it takes so much freedom of adding stuff, like adding features, adding icons, deciding on colors, like all of that. I feel like we have to be really careful with the prompts and be really specific in order to have like original designs and not make like at the end, if we just add that simple prompt, I feel like all my designs will look the same based on whatever the AI likes instead of actually designing them. So that's kind of, I feel, our work here to be better at prompting.
Stanley, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Luisa that you have to be a lot more specific. You have to be a lot more uh I would say direct. You really have to let, whether it's Claude or whether it's ChatGPT, you really have to be very intentional in terms of how you want to move forward. Uh, I think for me, it's like I'm gonna need to find better keywords as far as the prompts are concerned that are really going to get me where I want to go if I'm trying to create something. So I think that's something that I'll need to do on the side or to see if there's sort of like a UX, not necessarily a glossary, but probably a glossary of prompts that would be most effective if there's something that's already out there in the universe getting that will help me in terms of creating whether it's wireframes or anything else that I need during the UX process. So I like where this is going. And I like what I've been able to do with this so far, but I see that you have to be really intentional, and you really probably need to plan a lot more before just sort of, calling up ChatGPT and Claude. Really have to be if you, especially if you've got something, if you've got a project that you want to complete.
Yeah. So one thing that I want to highlight here, it is troubling, but that's where we actually provide value.
Okay.
Because everybody else would just be like, oh, it's so easy. I'm gonna create an app, right?
Mhm.
They're gonna create that generic crap. And what would differentiate that is the UX thinking along the way, the thing that we're discussing right now, the intentionality, the design. Design is not about like getting the artifact, the output, but design is actually making decision along the way that's intentional based on the purpose of that thing to solve the user problem, right?
it's funny. It's almost like this reminds me of like, people who have discovered Canva who are not designers.
Mhm.
Um, sure, they can make a presentation, they can make a home screen, but that's it. I mean, that's all they know. It's just like they're just relying on Canva to do the work and just by just throwing in intentional stuff. So, I mean, and this is, I feel the same way. It's like people, it's just like at the end of the day, Danny, you're right. This is just a tool. And I think um, once UX designers and people input, you know, their own spin on the prompts and the prompt engineering, that's what it separates UX designers from like product people who are just, it's like, cause like you said, anybody can say, oh, I can just type in, create me a prototype for, or create wireframes for this process. And it'll spit wireframes out. But, they don't know what to ask in between the lines, so to speak, to get a good result back, so to speak.
The thing that Stanley mentioned, the terms.
Yeah.
Those are the terms that we learn from doing these things. For example, make sure that the affordance is there, right? These are like industry specific terms that we know about that people who never done this wouldn't know. Like for example, like the thing that Luisa was talking about earlier with like make this lower fidelity so I can focus on the content. There's a value in that. Like the people who have never done what we do, they don't know these things, right? And that's what separates the quality level of what we're gonna produce versus what they're producing, right? Using these things. Esther, any thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I feel like yeah, it was very generic, and one has to be very detailed and kind of know exactly what they want in this wireframe based on some more research. Or I think that in terms of innovation, this would be just kind of, I think that it's more of like a tool to get started on the wireframes, but later on it requires, from the UX perspective, there has to be a lot more research done and testing, and kind of looking into how everything is structured, and for it to make it a unique um, interface, there has to be a lot more done to it. But I think that it is a really good tool to get started on an interface, and kind of think of even in Figma, just having some of the AI helpers to make sure that everything is in line and really precise, kind of pixel perfect in terms of just the layout itself. I think that the visual and everything, it just still needs that human touch.
Yeah. Chris, what do you
Yes. Um, I agree with everyone. Everyone's comments. This is the first time for me to use Claude. I've been using Perplexity and ChatGPT, but I'm really glad I got introduced to this one too. Yeah, it's as far as prompting, I think you have to be very intentional, specific to get the product that you want. I think a lot of beginners like myself fall victim to. Sorry, not that's not what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say was that we're not specific enough, and we don't get what we want, and that could be a time waster. So, you know, moving forward, I like to be more specific in what I ask of the LLMs that I use. So, thank you. I do really like Claude's the visuals. It's nice.
So just one thing to add, I think Stanley, you mentioned this. Going slower is actually the way to go with this. Right? Going slower at first so you can get there faster. I mean, this is the same thing with actually the normal design process. If we go straight to Figma without like creating user flow, without like even before that, right? Understanding the user problem, the research before, all these things that lead to the interface, we just go straight to, even worse, if people just go straight to coding, then you get garbage. And it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there is nothing really new under the surface, although on the surface level is new things. Make sense?
Mhm.
So on that, I'm gonna go to the next slide. Yay! Sorry for the cheesy confetti. I got too excited, so I just asked Claude to like, hey, can you add confetti animation? And it did. So in this, you learn prompt engineering, AI-assisted wireframing, and LM evaluation, right? So those are these three different things, and there are a lot of things that we can go deeper on, right? And as we discussed earlier, this is not going anywhere. So I do hope that you guys at least now become aware of what this could do and continue in this journey. If you want it to accelerate, I offer a course. Jason know about this, and there's an info session at 1 actually to talk about that if you want to go faster. And also do services if you're companies or you want coaching and whatnot. I'm not gonna bore you with this. Just gonna like drop the link in Oh, that's the wrong link. It's gonna give you the link here in case you're curious about that one in the chat. Since we're over already. And any questions? And let's connect on LinkedIn. Questions from what we discussed, from what we experienced.
I don't have any. It's just this just opened up a whole new world of something to play with now to really get into the weeds of this, so to speak, and see what it can do.
Did not expect that, did you?
No, didn't. No. I really wish my prototype would be working, but I mean,
Well, now you can play around with it and change the
yeah.
prompt and make it work. And Esther, since you got like some errors, a lot of times if you just like start in the chat and change the prompt a little bit with the wording, that could address that. It's weird.
Mhm.
Sometimes just like messing around with the prompt thing could address that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else has any last comments, questions before we end?
Thank you, Danny. This was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much.
thank
All
you.
right. Until next time, guys. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, take care, Danny. Good to see you again.
Same here. Bye.